Hello there, this is Chadderbox, and I'm bored. Or at least I was 2 months ago. Yeah, this was a long project. So, as a game developer, what do you do when you're bored? Make a coffee? No, you join a game jam. And it just happened that I'd been invited to join one. This jam was called the YouTuber Jam, which is a very original and creative name, which, if you couldn't tell, consisted of YouTubers doing a game jam together. The contestants would be me, M in Space, Madbook, Ikoso, and Nate Dev, and we would all have 7 days in a month to make a game. After we made the game, it would be judged by a panel of judges, consisting of Danum, Goodkiss, Dakota, and Let's Talk Game Design. I'm quite busy during weekdays, so I selected the weekends in March to be the days that I make my game. The first Saturday came around, and I got a message containing the theme of the jam, which is the elements, and so I got to work. Thinking of something for this theme was hard. While I was thinking of what to do, I made a quick Unity 2D project, because I decided that I wanted to try pixel art for this jam. It took me quite a while of planning, but I eventually decided on the game being a weird puzzle game, where you control two characters at once on a grid. To implement the theme, I took some inspiration from the classic Flash game, Fireboy and Water Girl, adding in the mechanic that you take damage stepping in the opposing element. However, I want the player to think more, and as this is a puzzle game and grid based, I'm going to punish the player and kill them if they touch the opposing element. When they die, it's going to restart the level and they have to try all over again. So after getting this semi-decent idea into my small head, I set to work on some art. Now, I've not really done any pixel art before, so this was tough and it came out looking pretty bad. I tried to make some animated water tiles to represent one of the elements, but it really just didn't work out very well. While rethinking ideas for my art, I moved on to something that I'm actually comfortable with, programming the base mechanics for the game. It didn't take long to have some basic grid-based movement and some collision, but with that I stopped for the day because I have a lot of other things to do. After a little sleep, I realised that pixel art just wasn't going to work. See, as this is being judged, even though I don't really care about being ranked the best or whatever, this is still an indication of my skill, and I want to come off the best that I can, so I'm going to resort to my tried and tested vector art, which still may not look that good, but it's certainly better than what I was working with before. So I opened Affinity and started on that. I made some water and a crate, and then for some reason decided that I want to make a dynamic tile map with Unity's tile map system, which was a completely stupid decision and a massive waste of time, even though I suppose it made making levels slightly easier in the long run. I was quite busy that day, and also making the tile map took a really long time, so I left it at that. It was the next weekend now, and I made quite a bit more progress. I did a lot more work on the art and added another puzzle element, a crate, which has to be pushed around and you can block paths if you aren't careful. I also added art for the players and added in some rings which I intended to be for the end goals, hoping that the players would just sort of slot inside them, which was quite satisfying. Adding in the crate also unfortunately added in a lot of bugs, but I think I fixed most of them. I got a lot more work done on day 4, really trying to tie my jumbled mess up into something that could hopefully be turned into a game with a bit more work. I started off by adding a main menu, which I actually think looks alright. From there, I focused on adding the main functionality for the end goals. Having a win state was great because it meant that after 4 days, my game was finally semi-playable. After that, I made a level select screen. I normally make procedural level select screens, but as it was only going to be a small game, I decided that I'd just make the screen myself and fill out all the fields manually. After that, I worked on some levels, and I also created another puzzle element, being a pressure plate, which does things when you step on it. On day 5, I spent a bit of time fixing bugs, and after that I fleshed out the pressure plate mechanic a bit more and played with post-processing. This was the day that I decided to get a bit of audio work done, so I set about working on some sound effects. I just sort of made them using my mouth and a random assortment of items that are littered around my room. After that, I decided to work on some music too. I normally use other people's music, but like I said earlier, I really want to put everything into this jam. So I made my own, which you can hear at the moment. I'm really not too good at making music, but I'm quite proud of it, and it certainly fills the empty void that would be there without it. On day 6, I spent a bit of time working on the level select system, making it a cool unlock mechanic that allows the player to progress through the game and not just play the final level first, instantly winning. After that, I worked on quite a few levels, some of which were quite hard. After I made them, I had to spend quite a bit of time optimizing the difficulty curve because I felt like there were some massive spikes. But after that, there was about 10 levels, and I could playtest the game the entire way through. I didn't do much on day 7, the game was basically finished. I worked on an icon for the game page, I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be, but I think it looks cool. Then I added a win screen for the game, it's really simple, but I think it's really rewarding for the player when it pops up after you've worked through all those levels. After that, the game was done, I made a basic store page on itch.io, and uploaded it. But now the game was done, it was time for the judges to play and rate them, so here's what they have to say.
You would think over the years of playing Game Jam entries that by now I'd be tired of block-pushing puzzle maze games that make me feel like an idiot, and you'd be wrong. I'm still a sucker for these minimalist ideas that break into devilish challenges after a short space of time, and make my brain kind of mush out of my ears as I try and work backwards from a solution. It's simple and clean, very effective, and I can't get very far in it, so it must be very clever. I don't know where the theme comes in, but that's not as important as making a cohesive and polished final product, so I don't think it detracts from the experience at all.
We have Sightzo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I gave it a 5 out of 10 for the theme, mostly because, I don't know, not really much in the game kind of defined it as the elements. I guess like you could argue that the blue and the red were supposed to represent fire and water, but they didn't really come across that way in the game to me personally. But yeah, gameplay I gave a 7 out of 10. It was really solid. It was a basic puzzle game. It didn't really feel like it took many risks, but it just was overall solid. In visuals, it was a 6 out of 10 for me. It wasn't really anything noteworthy, but it was solid. And the audio was a 6 out of 10. Wasn't really anything noteworthy, but the soundtrack of the music, it did get pretty repetitive pretty fast. But yeah, overall I gave it a 7 out of 10. Alright, Styzo, level select, level 1. I was about to say seems straightforward, but there's a little bit of thing there. Okay. Okay, so I cannot touch that. I understand. Oh, okay. I can push. It's a block that I can push. I need to somehow switch these positions. Hold on, wait, actually. If I get him up there, and then I get this guy here, and I can do that, I can come down like this, and then have him come through, and then do this, and then figure out a way. There we go. I'm so smart, dude. Oh my god. Okay. It's gonna get harder from here, I imagine. Okay. So the only thing I can do here is... Okay, so I think the best course of action for me to do is come around here and push this here out of the way. Okay, maybe not. I did not realize that was a thing. Seems a little unfair that that isn't explained. I would appreciate if there was like if I could like hold down the movement buttons instead of having to press them every time. Okay. Now, no, I stepped in the blue. Pain. Then I can get myself right there. There we go. Okay, that was pure luck that I got that. Okay, and then blue man needs to go there. No, he can't move up. He cannot move up. Like I said, I think the different colored tiles causing them to restart is a little harsh. I think you could just make it to where, like for this like kind of chill puzzle game, instead of making it restart, I think it'd be better if it just like prevented them from moving. Yeah, that last level was very easy. It kind of felt like the rest of the game, like in progression, like this was good, and it felt like maybe you ran out of time and like rushed to these two. To me personally, that's how it felt. But yeah, overall it's pretty fun. It had some like mind-bending puzzles. Yeah. Overall pretty solid. The visuals were nice and minimalistic. Yeah, just a solid game overall.
I'm pretty happy with how the game came out, to be honest. I think that the art could be improved, but overall it's an interesting yet short game that does what it aims to do. There are a few bugs, but they're nothing major. In the description there'll be a link to play the game, as well as every other participant's videos. If you like the video, you can like it. If you want to see more, you can subscribe. But I think that's me done. I'm probably going to go and sleep after all the work that I've put into this project, because it's took me so long to do.